Hi, Claudia, and hi, everyone. My name is Massimo Domenico Sammito. I first met George through my PhD supervisor, Professor Isabel Beluzon, who's also in this picture close next to me. I am the guy with the Captain America t-shirt there. And we are here we are all together with George's team at the time in Göttingen. I think if I remember correctly, this should be the George's Garden, if I'm not wrong. Um, and and basically Claudia and I, but also Raphael, we used to spend summers in Göttingen and together with Isabel, and we were working with George's team at the time during these summers. After completing my PhD, also I spent 1 year in George's team as a postdoc. And I can say that I have learned so much from George. Of course, he was a scientist of immense value, but what I really treasure the most are his humbleness and kindness. Everyone who has spent time in his lab will remember the afternoon coffee sessions in his office. I think, Claudia, you also, right? You
Yes.
remember that, which became almost a tradition. I remember those moments especially well because there you could learn about everything from the deep meaning of B factors to story from his life, like how he had to pass a Latin exam just to enter to Cambridge, and that was impressive. George was always open to hearing any point of view, no matter where he came from. He didn't care about the differences, about genders, about social status, degrees, titles. He simply loved science and deeply was really listened to everybody. And whenever someone asked something intelligent to say, he was genuinely interested. I often felt very small in front of him, but somehow he had the gift of making everyone feel equally important and smart, always encouraging us and motivating us. He constantly acknowledged the work of others, often underestimating his own contribution, but never forgetting anyone else. His lab was also a place of community. Every year we had a Christmas party, and not only for the current members of the team, but for anyone who had ever passed through the lab or was a friend of it. The tradition was that the newest member had to organize the party, so I must admit that I was a bit overwhelmed when it was my turn that year, but while sending emails across the world and preparing an agenda of talks, I realized just how loved George was, how many lives he had touched, and um, and really how many scientific careers he had helped nurture. At that moment, I felt part of something bigger, something united and special. I miss George, but I carry with me all the memories and, above all, the lessons he taught me about leading with kindness and humbleness. Lessons I will never forget.
Thank you, Massimo. So I'm Claudia, and as Massimo was mentioning, I was also part of the group of Isabel, and I was also very lucky that I got to spend 2 or 3 summers working there together with George and his team. So I'm also sharing another picture of us there in Göttingen. This is in the Mensa, like the canteen from the university. And one of the more kind of more personal anecdotes of the time in there is like, as a Spaniard, we are used to have lunch relatively late. And I remember the first day in the office when George came knocking into our door, like, I don't know, 11 and a quarter or something like that, which was kind of time for a coffee for a Spaniard to bring us for lunch. But then I enjoy very much the lunches because in a similar manner, it was more noisy in there than in the afternoon coffees in George's office. But again, all the opportunities to chat with others and to discuss the more scientific topics, but as Massimo was also saying, the more mundane topics are also things around travel and culture. His he's been always very thoughtful when interacting with people and knowing the right things to say at the right moment. And I think that is a quality that is not very common. And also on the more kind of scientific side of things, kind of my PhD project inherited, let's say, a piece of a code from him that was used to combine phases. And it was something that at a given point in my PhD, I had to basically translate from Fortran, and like not any Fortran, George Fortran, to Python. And I tried all the NumPy, all the things to accelerate that. Afterwards, coming back to use George code because it was anyway the best thing that there was. But beyond those kind of more funny anecdotes, I really, really remember very fondly the time we have spent with him. And I also feel like Massimo said that like everyone that has met George and then I have chat with them, they have something that George contributed to their lives, and that is beyond the scientific contributions, which, I mean, they cannot be overstated. So anyway, yeah, I remember very fondly George, and yeah, thank you.